Right, so the artisan's almost done. Let's go get that last boss. Or just the boss. Like every world, something that would be changed in the later Spyro games. In this, every world has a boss that is in their own level. But if you want to just go through the game, you can easily skip all these, and the only boss you'll have to fight is Nasty Nork at the end. Whereas the later Spyro games would have bosses between each world. Oh, I forgot about the dog. The dogs are always a pain to deal with in this because they take 2 hits. And so if you're not careful, they will actually manage to get a hit on you before you get them down, before you finish them. But the strategy I just came up with seems to be working. That is flame them and then jump and flame them again. Is that way you'll catch them in the middle of their jump. Alright, seems to be everything here. You could probably charge them, but since it seems to be taking 2 hits, wouldn't recommend it. I haven't actually been through Spyro once since I did it on Vita. So while there's a bunch of stuff I do remember, like specific gems that will really irritate to find. There's a lot of it that is kind of just winging, doing this as we go. So hopefully it'll work out okay, we won't have too many more issues like that one where we just lost. I couldn't figure out where the key was.
Nasty Nork has put one of his most devious henchmen in charge of the artisan world.
Bring him on. I think I smell a barbecue.
Be careful, Spyro. This boss has many tricks up his sleeve.
So the music for this game was composed by Stuart Copeland of The Police, which is a band I've never listened to. And apparently he also was involved in a Nickelodeon show, I think it was, called The Amanda Show. Which, apparently the ending theme is a theme from this game. He just reused it. And apparently it's not uncommon for videos like of Spyro playthroughs to get copyright strikes for having the Amanda Show theme in it, even though it's actually a Spyro theme because the theme was just reused. So we'll see that as we get to it. So that was the first boss, that was Toasty, who, despite looking kind of menacing with his pumpkin head and his scythe, is actually, I think, a sheep on stilts. So the series doesn't take itself too seriously, which is always nice for a game like this. But that's the Artisan's world pretty much done. Now we can go to Peacekeepers. The second world. How many worlds is it? There's Peacekeepers, there's the one in the swamp. There's the one in the high area. 5 worlds maybe, and then Nasty's world? I forget. We'll find out.
Welcome to Peacekeepers, Spyro. Look how our treasure has been turned against us and stolen. Recover our treasure, Spyro.
Collect treasure. Got it.
So that was a thing that was brought up in the intro that's not really dealt with again in the series, but the reason we're getting gems from every bad guy we defeat is that Nasty Nork has apparently turned gems into Norks, apparently. So, you know, that's a thing. The rest of the trilogy does still have you recover gems by killing enemies. But also something that I hadn't really considered. To get out of this world, we... Okay, they're just mooning me. Which is a stupid idea when I can then set them on fire with that. Idiots. Nice. What was I saying? Yeah, something I hadn't really considered when I first played this game. To get out of the Artisan's world, we have to collect dragons. But to get out of this world, we have to collect gems. And what you could take that as is a difference in priority for each world.
Hi, Spyro! Sparks the Dragonfly has been doing a good job protecting you. Make sure to keep him strong by feeding him lots of butterflies.
Yeah, like, to get out of this world we need a certain amount of gems, which I probably have since I got all the gems out of the Artisan's world. Let's check, actually. $1,200. Alright. And we have... 1,081. That's fair enough to prevent you from immediately entering this world and just leaving it. That went horribly. I just lost sparks because of that. 3 hits. So let's get some butterflies and recover him. So what was I saying? Yeah, like, if you remember in Mario 64, what we did a bunch of times, like, we figured it out that you can skip, like, pretty much all of the... downstairs, and go straight to Bowser, because it's entirely possible to have 30 stars before you defeat Bowser the first time. No, you're supposed to hit this one. So the cannonball will home in on targets if it's aimed right. So you don't really need to worry too much about aiming it. Just get it in the approximate area. And what I'll recommend doing with basically every world is when you go to a new world, get all of the gems and dragons from the hub before you go further worlds. Is that way you don't have to worry about finishing off enemies again to find missing gems. Because the enemies will respawn, but they'll only give you gems once. So if you get all the gems in one go, you won't have to worry about enemies respawning and then you not knowing which enemies you need to take out to get more gems. Of course, that is only if you're going for 100% completion.
Well done, Spyro! Keep up the good work, and I know you'll fulfill your destiny.
Destiny? I just want to kick some...
Just toast those enemies and collect the treasure!
So this game has like 5 voice actors. And if you're going after all the dragons, it becomes very apparent. It's like we've heard Clancy Brown voice like 4 dragons at least now. And Clancy Brown's a fantastic voice actor, a fantastic actor. But you can only ask him to voice so many characters before you start realising, this character is also Clancy Brown. Right, so I want to get over there, so I need a bit of height. Nice. And we also got the key, so we can open this up. And this should be the last of the treasure, actually, in this world. No, it isn't. Nah, we're still missing some. And then the question becomes, where? Oh, Sparks has less hits in this one. I was like, wait, doesn't Sparks take 3 hits before he disappears? Like, he goes green, he starts gold, goes green, goes blue. There we are. That's all of them. Might as well go here. But I'm guessing it's the sequel that starts that, where Sparks goes green, starts gold, goes green, goes blue, and then disappears. Ice level. So if I remember rightly, this level plays with the idea of big enemies having the metal shielding. Watch out for the bats. Except don't really, because they're not actually an enemy. Every level has something you can kill to retrieve a butterfly for Sparks. And honestly, quite cool, and most of the time it's something different depending on the
Word
level.
of caution, little one. Wait until you grow big, like me, before charging those large enemies.
Alright, so... if I remember rightly, this level actually does take a bit of finesse. And is actually fairly expansive. It's probably going to be the most expansive level we've done thus far. And by that I don't mean like the most open, I mean like the most pathways to go through. Which isn't something I really mind. The stuff that does get irritating to go through is when a level is just wide open. Because then it's like, oh, have I missed something in this wide open area?
Psst. Spyro! Some big Norks up ahead are wearing armor. And in the ice cave, armor can make their feet very slippery.
So that's letting you know how to deal with the big enemies that are wearing armor in this level. And it's a nice little subversion of the whole thing you're probably used to by now of charge small enemies wearing armor, flame big enemies because they won't be wearing armor. Or if they are, they'll only be wearing armor on half of them, like that one enemy we saw. So we do need a key for this level. Just like, this game is pretty good. There's a bunch of stuff to keep things fresh. At time of recording, actually, I don't have the Reignited trilogy yet. I've considered picking it up, but it's not dropped to a price I really want to pay yet. Because, as you can see here, I'm perfectly fine playing the original. It was a similar thing with the Crash Insane trilogy. I'm perfectly fine with the original. It's not like there's anything wrong with it. And I'm totally willing to go back and play these old systems for these games that I enjoy.
Thank you for releasing me.
We're going to hear that a bunch as we go onwards. Not every dragon has something unique to say. A lot of them will just say thank you for releasing me. Which, you know, at least they're polite. This is going to be a 300 gem level. It's a 400 gem level, jeez. Ugh. Who did that? Better have been you. So Crash and Spyro had something of a pseudo rivalry back in the PlayStation days. I say a pseudo rivalry because by the time Spyro came out, Crash was kind of done on the PlayStation. I mean, you've got Crash 1, 2, and 3, and on Crash 3 there's the demo for Spyro 1. It's like, oh yeah, no, the final game of the Crash trilogy came out and Spyro just started. And then there was Crash Team Racing, Crash Bash, which were both very different kinds of games at that point. Come on. There we go. So, pseudo-rivalry, never really actually meant anything. Especially since both games were published by the same company. Published by Universal Interactive Studios, is it? Published by Universal, which these days is under the Activision label. It's not, like, Crash and Spyro are both owned by Activision now, and it's not that they bought the rights to the series, it's that they bought the company that owned the rights. Because Universal, I think it became Vivendi Universal at some point. And then Activision bought them. Which is why Activision owns the rights now. Come on. No. Oh, that's an area we've not been to.
You've done well, Spyro. Some dragons thought you weren't ready, but I knew they were wrong.
I'm ready, all right.
Ready to
for
kick some butt. This is a pretty big level. It's not a bad thing because, you know, it's been fairly focused. We've never been searching for stuff we've missed. It's just been going forward the whole time, so that's nice. I always appreciate a level like that. Did we go this way? Oh, yeah, no, I forgot about that. It's a good thing we came back down here, because I forgot about those. Is this backwards? Yes, it is. So this way. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get to I don't know if we'll ever get to see a new Spyro game. I mean, the Spyro Reignited trilogy is all well and good. But you know that was, like, easy money. And there's not many ways you can really mess that up. It's throw a new coat of paint over this whole game. Maybe fix the controls a little bit, and then bam, you're done. Guaranteed nostalgia cell.
Thank you for releasing me.
Well, there it is, 2 within 1 level. So I don't have the key yet, do I? No. We are done with dragons, at least. So I'm pretty sure I know where the key is, because I did see something earlier. Just have to go back to. Well, yeah, it's a shame because the platformer seems to be like really only something the indie crowd caters to now. You've got stuff like High Time, which is supposed to be excellent, and I've not played yet. I really need to get around to that sometime, because I do have that game. Oh, Sparks turns gold, blue, then green. Right. That's fair enough. And like whether you like it or not, there's ukulele, which, like I say, whether you like it or not, oh, there's gems. Not comfortable with this. Is an indie game doing the platformer thing, which not a lot of companies are doing. There's Nintendo, who every now and then will put out a new Mario game, if they're not porting one from the last generation and charging you full price for it. You know, don't get me wrong, Mario Odyssey was a... God damn it, there's our first death. Don't get me wrong, Mario Odyssey is a fantastic game, and I do look forward to getting to that. Eventually. I had a lot of fun with that, a lot more fun than I was expecting. But outside of Nintendo and some of the indies, you don't get big publishers making platformers anymore. Ubisoft was kind of doing it for a little while with Rayman. There's Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends, which are both excellent games. If you haven't played them, you really should. But as far as I'm aware, they didn't sell enough for Ubisoft, which is still one of the stupidest things. Is it enough? Is it enough? Yes. Let's get out of here. Yeah, it's one of the stupidest things. Like Ubisoft, first Rayman game, first real Rayman game in years. God damn it. First real Rayman game in years since Rayman 3. Because the Raving Rabbids games just became all that series was about for a long time. Which, if you like them, fine, but they're not platformers. And I was after Rayman for platforming. You know what, let's get Night Flight done. Just to get it out of the way.